Hi everyone. Tonight we're introing Olwyn for a Gathering of Branches, our new Pendragon stream focused on the county and kingdom of Summerland and magic and fairies. That is the themes. Tonight, we're going to start at in the middle of things. So there's an overhead view of countryside manor on a very bright and warm and shiny day. Olwyn, you find yourself rising after the sun, so this is a bit later than you would typically arise. You hear the sound of riding in the distance. Someone's approaching the manor. You know that your uncle has been away. He went to war last year, and you're anxiously awaiting him. Not last year, sorry, in the spring is when he went to war.
Okay. So, can I run out to greet him?
You can.
Okay. I run out.
So we're going to go ahead and get you to test awareness here.
$16 out of 2.
All right. Yeah, so just a reminder, failures aren't the same thing as a fumble in this game. Failures just mean things didn't quite work out right. So it isn't until you get out there, you ignore kind of looking out the window. You end up running downstairs quickly to greet your uncle. And when you get down there, you actually don't see your uncle. You see his squire riding up at this point, Llewellyn. He's a boy, roughly 16 years old. He's stayed with you over the last year since your uncle Llewellyn took him on.
Gwydon, where's Llewellyn?
I'm sorry, Olwyn.
Really?
I'm sorry. He reaches into his bag and, at his side on the horse, and you see him pull a shield from it with the heraldry of your uncle.
You're sorry because he got delayed, but he asked you to give this to me as a promise that he'd be back soon, right?
He goes to speak, but his mouth just hangs open. I have to update the lady. Excuse me. He kind of dismounts and goes to walk past you. Is there anything we want to focus on as far as Olwyn's reaction here, as you're left alone in the courtyard, effectively?
Did he give me the shield, or did he just show it to me?
He did give it to you.
Okay, so I'm just gonna hold it and look around at everyone else coming in, just kind of staring out.
All right. So I think we're going to shift. I wanted to do that as a little bit of a kind of a precursor intro, and then skip forward just a touch. So you had a couple of days now to kind of grieve your uncle's death. What would Olwyn have done during that time? Is she kind of in denial still, or has she come to terms with it at all?
She would be in denial probably for the first day or so, because nobody officially said, nobody said it. And then the first time that somebody officially said the word dead in conjunction to her uncle like, I think she would lose it. You just weep for like an hour.
For sure.
And then afterwards, probably just think into whatever it was, that she did. Like maybe try to read some things. She can read, so.
So one of the things is your aunt has been busy immediately. Like she hasn't taken the time to grieve. As far as you knew, they always had like a very authentic relationship, the two of them. But she is dealing with it, coping with it by being very busy. It's just her style of dealing with stress. You hear a bit of like as you're coming in to speak to her at one point, you overhear a conversation with her and one of her handmaidens, and her handmaiden says, "Where to then?" And she says, "Well, winter will be upon us soon, and there's only one option. We must go to Great Bridge. I think it's time for Olwyn." You know what your aunt's been priming. I mean, she's had this agenda for you for a while. Ever since you were like 15, she's been looking to try and shop you around effectively on the market. She's been unsuccessful because your uncle has given that fatherly "she's too young" response. He's no longer in the picture.
Cool.
At that, Lady Millier recognizes that you've approached, and she pauses and she says, "Oh, Olwyn, how long were you there?"
I just come now.
I see.
Oh.
Well, I have some very, very good news for you. We're going to go see King Cadwe this winter.
Oh, that's auspicious indeed. What's the occasion?
Well, I mean, Christmas court is important, after all. Seems fitting. And
Of course.
though you've managed well enough around here, it's important that you become more introduced to the court of nobles of Summerland. This is, after all, you can't always be around our manor. You have to spread your wings as it is.
Of course. Right. And what end?
Well, I suppose we should look at every opportunity possible.
Okay. Because my uncle's death was an opportunity. It's like everything, right?
Like everything, yes.
Right. Perfect. Are you upset at all?
Of course. But these things do happen. Knights' swords are... They fight, and they kill, and they die. That's what knights do. And if we're not responsive to things when they happen, we could lose everything.
like it might take me a little bit more time to be ready. But when the time comes, I will be. Because I owe it to him that much. I owe him everything.
She responds with a polite touch of your shoulder. I'm so pleased to hear that. Spend the next few weeks as you will. Enjoy yourself around here, and well, when the winter comes, we will take our leave.
Well, thank you for everything.
She, why don't you test courtesy for me? Yeah.
It's a 2 out of 5 success, baby.
Okay. Perfect. My standard rule applies 1 to 5. If you have the skill in it and you pass it, you get an auto check. So she seems pleased with that, and I think she knows you well enough to know you're not happy, and she says, but she's pleased with how courteous you still come off, and she says, excellent, you're already learning. She says with a smile and continues on. So with that, I think we can skip ahead to Greatbridge Castle, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm not going to be showing a map or anything like that in our first session, these intro sessions. I think it's more interesting just to do the big camera, and I can show what I can through the little window on the side for pictures and stuff. So I might be referring to things on screen for Rebecca that only Rebecca can see and not anybody else, right? But in general, you'll be traveling north for this, north and west, and I'll show you where exactly. So you are located near Bath, and you'll be traveling upriver to Greatbridge Castle, which is, in modern day speak, is Bristol. We're going to go ahead and cut forward, so I think this is like winter, Christmas court, right? Various people are being introduced, and we're going to go right to your introduction. But first, I think we need to go ahead and test appearance and see how you managed.
Well, that's rolling. How long has it been? Said 2 or 3 weeks later?
No, it would probably be actually quite a bit longer than that. Oops, I didn't need to bump that. I was just gonna.
How much later?
So that was like summertime. This would be like you probably traveled in probably just before winter in fall to the Greatbridge Castle.
It's several months later.
Yeah, several months later, and the idea is that you traveled before it got really cold, but you stayed in Bristol proper, not in the castle. So this is kind of like you've had some time to get familiar with the lay of the land, but not the people here yet, not the nobles. The nobles came in, and they've all been kind of doing their own thing within the city. So,
Appearance roll, correct?
indeed. All right.
Yeah, I fixed that.
So I'm totally going to go over to the other roll 20 right now because I don't have the card to tell me what that does. The success is near the salt. So that is where you shall be placed. So you're near the salt. So to explain this to people that might not know Pendragon, you get seated in various places partially based on your appearance, and you only get above the salt if you crit. What did you roll? What was your number?
16.
Yeah, but I wonder what the dice actually was. You should have had a whopping 8 plus 8 on that. But that's okay. Probably was like a 8 then, I guess is what you roll. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it was an 8.
Okay. Let's go ahead and jump in from here. So you see a few figures here. Can you test intrigue for me just off the cuff? I like to do this before the feast actually starts. Oh, just barely no. You're looking around for Cadwe. You don't see him, and you start to wonder if perhaps this fellow here is Cadwe. But then he is introduced. He is Sir Morian, the castellan of this castle. So he acts as castellan when Cadwe basically relieves Cadwe of having to play that role in his own castle. And he's also a sheriff. So usually a sheriff's assigned to a king. Because King Cadwe is both a king and a count, he only has to partially pay homage to Uther, and he can actually kind of act as from Summerland's purposes, he is the king. Only when he's talking to like the greater England is he a count of Uther's, if that makes sense. But yeah, you realize that is the sheriff, and that is certainly not King Cadwe. So you're not sure who King Cadwe is. You've heard all sorts of rumors about him. You've never met him yourself. He's a rather reclusive man, so you've never had the opportunity.
Sense.
Okay, so as we move into round 1, you have a few different options from this. You can pull the card. We know what that looks like. You've watched that happen a million times. You can intrigue. You can flirt. You can game. And I think that is it.
I kind of want to pull card.
Yeah, you're welcome to. So I will note the cards are very male knight centric. So we might have to do some like fine touching on them as they come up, or redraw if we can't figure something creative out. But
yeah. How many rounds is this feast?
It is 2 rounds. And I'm going to go ahead and pull your aunt here. She's here. It's worth noting that the Squire Llewellyn no longer stays with you. He had to move on. Yeah.
Batch.
But your auntie is here. Lady Melior. All right. So if you want, you can go ahead and grab a card. Let's see what happens.
I just draw 1 card?
Yeah. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to shuffle it real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
One card. Oh. Yeah.
All right. So what we typically do is we'll just blow it up so you can see it. How's the wine?
How's the wine? You are asked to comment on the wine.
Okay.
Success. Your comments are well received. Critical success. Your connoisseur's comments are highly valued.
So I will go ahead and, because you can't tick courtesy, I'll just give you a +1 geniality if you succeed at this, which is very useful.
All right. So I'm rolling courtesy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no!
Oh no. Maybe would Olwyn have experience drinking, or would she think is this one of those? She's not quite 18. She'll be 18 at the start of the game, but she's 17 in this intro. Is this one of those things where she hasn't had a lot of experience with wine, so wine tastes like awful to her?
I imagine Lewin probably didn't like let her have any, and then Melior absolutely did not. Are you kidding me? So yeah, she and tastes it and oh, that's rancid. I mean, no, it's lovely and good, and it's very red.
Yeah, I think this is around a couple of ladies at the court, so they just kind of stick their noses up at you. And it's worth noting, I think, one thing we want to verify is Olwyn is probably the highest appearance character in all of Summerland right now, with the exception maybe of Mellis. Yeah. So there's a lot of attention on you as there are often like up and coming maidens. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance around that. But you're not winning anyone over with the wine comment, that's for sure. So we'll tuck that down here. It is a fumble, so it's actually -2 geniality, so you lose your geniality for the round. But that's okay. That'll be fine. Yeah. Do you have points in fashion, by the way?
I have 2 points in fashion.
Okay. Fashion is a skill that non-knights are allowed to focus on more so, and it can actually improve your appearance for the purpose of like an event like this, and go in like an Uber, appearance at the beginning. It's sort of like where you sit. You're that new fashionista that comes in, right? Blows up the courtroom. They got you posted all over social media. Yeah. So that'll be the end of kind of your action for the first round. While that's happening, you observe that your aunt is up talking to this chap here. And you notice a couple of the men seem to be, probably more than a couple, eyeing Olwyn, right? They're very interested in this new lady to be, especially because you come from vassal knight, so you come from like a better stock than, say, a mercenary knight or a household knight. Your father was someone of relative importance, and so was your uncle. With that, one of the men comes up. I'll just pull up what he looks like. So this is kind of like a GM action. So your first round's over, but this is happening to you. Good day, lady, my lady. He kind of stumbles over his words a little bit.
Have you had the wine? It's very good.
I have. He motions to his glass. Though, to be honest with you, I prefer wine from further east, especially from the mainland. Have you ever had wine from the mainland?
Oh, I have not. I have had this wine.
I see.
And that's about it, actually.
You, what was your dad's name? Taliesin, right?
Taliesin, yeah.
Taliesin. He says, your face looks awfully familiar. Do you happen to be the daughter of Sir Taliesin? Oh. I knew him, actually. A long time ago. And he's not getting the hint very much. And he says, well, before things changed with the invasion. I did want to say, though, it's a pleasure to have met you, and I hope we can speak again sometime.
Right. It was a pleasure to meet you as well. And your name was...
Oh, my name, yes. I'm Sir Leif.
If...
Yeah. I am a vassal knight, actually, from Salisbury. Though I have many friends in Summerland here. I hope the challenges from previous years can be put behind us and we can forget all those terrible things. The bloodshed that was called upon us by the king.
Oh, horrible, awful bloodshed. It was lovely to meet you, of course.
He nods as well. He's pretty sure he's not exactly killing it, so he's gonna wander away awkwardly. Yeah. All right, round.
I imagine that Olwyn's cheeks are about like as red as the wine, just from having to have that conversation.
Right.
Oh God.
All right. Why don't we go ahead and start with round 2, so you can choose just so we go back over the options: gaming, flirting, intrigue, or cards. And there might be one I'm forgetting. I'm trying to think. I think that's everyone. And your geniality, unfortunately, is -1 right now.
Yay! So what does that mean?
It won't offer a penalty. It just means that you're not getting glory out of being here, unless you pull a card or do something cool, and then it might result in geniality that results in glory. So, though glory is mostly a knight's tool, right?
I will. So what is gaming specifically? Is that like cards and stuff?
Yeah, it's cards, chess, things like that.
I think I'm gonna try intrigue. Just see if I can pick up on what my aunt is saying about me. Year-old Melior is pushing.
For sure.
But I gotta live up to.
Why don't you go ahead and... Okay, perfect. You're already doing it. All right. So you pass intrigue. And you can tick that because it's an actual test in a feast. So
Wonderful.
that... Yeah. Okay, so as you approach a bit, you see her with the sheriff. I'm going to go ahead and give you the names for people you've actually met, so we can just see who they are on here. So you end up relatively close to being above the salt for a minute while you're mingling with some folks, and she's not noticing. Her and Sir Morian are talking, and Lady Melior says, if I have it right, a scenario such as Olwyn's, surrounded by tragedy, it would certainly mean that the rights for remarriage or marriage would fall to the king, correct? And Sir Morian says, yes, my lady, of course. And it is the king's right to decide on such a marriage if we are lacking any any of the parents and anyone to make those decisions. We know that is the case, and I'd like to say again, I'm sorry to hear about your husband. He was a good knight and a good man. And you watch as she dabs at her eyes a little bit with her her kerchief, almost kind of playing the part. She does it well. That's the annoying. She does it well. That's the annoying part, right? And he says, "It must be hard enough to be a widow as is, but to be a widow with care over a maiden, far more difficult. How might I be of help?" And she says, "Oh, no, I couldn't ask anything of you." And he says, No, I insist. How might I help you? Is there a way that we can see to Olwyn's future?" And Lady Amelia says, "Well, I suppose if it's really no bother, I know that there are a great many suitors here. Perhaps a formal announcement." He nods and says, "Of course. Perhaps, well, after the main course." She nods. "Yes, that would be a perfect time. Yes, when the dancing resumes." All right. So, you did tick intrigue. Is there anything you want to do in particular with this, other than be a fly on the wall?
Well, you said the main course. What are we eating?
Oh yeah, let's find out. I'm gonna see if I have it. Oh, I did bring it over. So it started with an almond omelet, and then Bremen eel pasties. Pasties. Yeah. Sorry, not the thing you put on. Yeah, we've been through this.
Got a bream here and an eel here.
And then roasted pigeon. Gotta love the pigeon.
Hell. Yes. Yeah. So I think I would just wanna just kind of walk past.
Yeah.
Just out of the corner of my aunt's eye, and kind of like absentmindedly walk over as if I'm going to talk to someone else, but like just pass her by. So, maybe she has the opportunity to like notice me, and it's like a like I know what you're talking about kind of vibe.
So I think Sir Morian says he kind of like falls short because he catches you walking by. He says, Lady Olwyn. And she freezes. Yeah.
Oh, hello. I have we met?
No, I don't think we have. At least not since you've been an adult, been of age. My name is Sir Morian. I'm the castellan of this castle. I'm sorry that King Cadwe is unable to attend. He sent me forward with his regrets.
He is the king after all, right? Sure, he has far more to do.
Indeed, he does.
Lovely to meet you.
And you as well. Why don't you do like maybe like a recognize roll? See if you know anything about him.
I do not. That's a 19 out of 20.
Okay. You don't know too much past the basics, but the basics, you get the impression. Who's this? This is Morian, right? Yeah. So Morian certainly seems to be like a very good politician. You get that sense. He's probably more like a steward than your typical knight would be, right? He's fairly good with his words. All right. So that is your second round right there as you walk by. And you were heading where again?
I was just kind of making like a roundabout way back to my seat, just to sort of,
Okay.
start some shit if she saw me, But yeah, I stirred the pot a little bit. Now I'm going back to my seat.
Okay. So, give me test awareness. It's a hard no.
Yeah.
Welcome to new characters in this game.
Hey.
You're kind of caught off guard. Like there's a crowd of people you're moving through. You hear the music start to pick up as some of the folks start to dance. Right, it's kind of after the main feast or main course at this point, and you see someone standing in your way, looking right at you. He has a fairly serious look on his face, but he kind of cuts it with a slight smirk. This is Lady Olwyn.
Hello. Everyone seems to know me here, but I don't seem to know anyone.
Hopefully we can change that. My name is Sir Gaydon. I'm the castellan at Bybrook River Castle. On behalf of the king. Are you enjoying your night?
I suppose as much as anyone else can. The food's really nice. Like the food.
He kind of leans in, looks around, and you see there's a couple of knights that are like shouting, clearly having a good time. And he says, I'm not sure that's entirely true. These things can be rather dull sometimes. Wouldn't you agree?
The food's really good. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, people have different tastes, right?
He doesn't seem to really mind your responses. He's very caught up in himself. And he holds out his hand and says, would you care to dance, my lady?
Sounds lovely.
He ignores the the awkward exchange and do you take his hand then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, why don't you test dance for me? Let's see how this goes. And then I'll test his dance and see if he's gonna botch really hard.
Oh boy.
Actually, he's got, because of geniality, he's got some bonuses. Oh yeah, you're awful together, I think. So I think things are going, things are going well enough, and then out comes the roasted pigeon, and the two of you knock into it, almost sending it off. Like it's saved barely, so it's not completely disgraceful, but it's one of those oops. That being said, he doesn't seem to care that he's not good at dancing. Like he seems to be having a good time regardless.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have to admit I'm not very used to this.
Me either. I'm not one for dancing, but it was good to have this time with you. I appreciate I appreciate your acceptance of this, and I hope that perhaps in the future we might get to know one another more.
Forward to it.
With that, he kind of bows to you and he says, "My lady." And with that, he turns on his heel and begins to kind of strut off. Yeah.
Oh, where's that pigeon?
Yeah. So you can certainly get to eating if you'd like at this point.
Yeah. Olwyn, I think, is gonna just struggle through a glass of wine and hope that it gets better.
Yeah.
I've heard that once you have the first glass, it's easier to drink. And then get in on that food, baby.
All right. Yeah, so, I mean, much the same for pretty much everyone here. People are beginning to dive into the third course. And I think as it starts to kind of quiet down a little bit, Sir Morian goes back up and it stands and starts to climb sort of the steps so that he can make some sort of call for either a toast or some sort of oratory thing. You probably are dreading this, I would imagine.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She's trying to, like, I don't know, imagine like someone without much of a tolerance for the alcohol thing, as it's like her first ever glass. She's just like, pay attention to where it is, so that she's ready to, like, grab someone else's glass if need be.
Yeah, sure enough. So it's worth noting your aunt is no longer standing with him. And she actually kind of conveniently moves to position herself closer to you while this is being done. You're very strategically being pincered right now. And
Yeah.
so
They're blocking off the exits.
Sir Morian says, "Lady Melior and Lady Olwyn, could you please stand?" Once stood, which is, I assumed, what you were emulating there.
Yeah.
Sir Morian says, "In discussion with Lady Melior, after our brave knights who responded to the call to arms from Uther against the Saxons, and in honor of those who have fallen, it is upon me to announce, on behalf of the king, a new maiden in waiting. Lady Olwyn is to turn the age of 18 next year. On that, both her aunt, her only surviving family of right, and myself have agreed that on behalf of the king, perhaps it is best that we begin to discuss suitors, potential options for Lady Olwyn's hand in marriage. Now, before we get any further with such things, I would like to note that there are a great many who have already voiced interest in Lady Olwyn's hand, both this eve and prior. So be swift about it if there are any furthers." With that, kind of interrupting the whole thing, Sirlof stands again and says, "I would like to note that I consider Summerland a great friend to me, and would like to pledge my interest in Lady Olwyn, returning her specifically to the county of Milkfield, from which she came, or from the 100 of Milkfield, from which she came." So you can tell that one thing you're getting from this is that Linderton Manor was probably a neighbor of yours, probably owned by someone that wasn't him prior to getting kicked out, right?
Salisbury.
There are a few other knights that go to stand, and Sir Morian kind of cuts them off and says, "No, this is improper to do things this way. I believe that we can discuss these things at better times. For now, perhaps it's best that we enjoy ourselves and make merry." With that, you see another figure arrive. He seems to walk almost kind of like out of the shadows, and he's a plump man. Definitely fits the description of the king. And everyone's reaction, if you didn't know right away, it's very clear, very quickly, that this is King Cadwe. You see him enter not from the main entrance, but like from one of the corners of the room. And Sir Morian, I don't think that it is time for Olwyn here to be seen off to the hands of marriage. She is still young, and though I appreciate your efforts to deal with the duties that I've given you right to speak to, I think in this particular case, I knew Llewellyn well, and Olwyn's mother well. I believe I have some tasks for her in the meantime, until the right time is found for such a marriage. I hope everyone here can forgive my interruption to their wonderful night. With that, he kind of laughs. He's an awkward guy, right? Or he's not as strong in the ways of oratory skills as Sir Morian, but he doesn't seem to care really. He's the king. Yeah. And with that, he looks down and says, "Ooh, pigeon." And with that, he begins to kind of almost like tiptoe his way towards the feast, as if he's trying to sneak up on the pigeon. Most of the people who aren't acquainted to Cadwe kind of just raise an eyebrow, especially Sir Lolf from Salisbury.
Yeah, Olwyn is visibly relieved, but also just so intrigued by this just weird guy that is here now. And so you said she would recognize him as just from everything. She would have been able to figure out that he's the king.
Yes, the Magician King specifically. Summerland considers him their king. To the rest of England proper, Logris proper, he's known as Count Cadwe, because he has worked out some sort of political deal, but the Summerlanders don't care about that at all. He's king.
Yeah, I think Olwyn is fascinated and enamored with him immediately. Like, not just because he said, yeah, let's not get her married, but also just his mannerisms and just everything about him just so cool to her.
He's very quick to drink the wine, and you see him begin to eat pigeon. Unlike most scenarios, he is sitting like above the salt right now. Near the salt. He's not above the salt right now. This is his own feast, and he's sitting down at amongst knights who've kind of cleared the area to give him some space. I think he has a dangerous reputation that comes with being who he is. He has very loyal knights, but doesn't mean they necessarily like spending time with them. So, what do you want to do?
Want to try and go up to him if no one's gonna stop me.
Okay. You are not stopped.
Kind of like the, high school dance sidestep up to him a little bit, and I am. You've no idea. Sorry, and she'll curtsy, and manners.
Oh, no, it's not necessary. And he's like speaking, there's like some pigeon on the corner of his mouth, like on a little bit of his beard. He just seems like a friendly grandpa is sort of what he comes off as.
I thank you. I'm not sure I know what sort of task you were going to put forward for me, but thank you. I'm not looking forward to being married off quite soon.
Can I tell you a secret?
I love secrets.
I know. Sorry, I don't think you came through there. Do you see something?
I heard him say don't.
No, sorry. It's probably, I've got filters on this mic. He whispers, I know. Yeah. Did that come through that time? Or is it filtering me out? Yeah.
Okay. So could I tell you a secret? I love secrets. I know.
Yeah.
And she'll just kind of giggle.
Yeah.
Was that the secret?
Well, no, not really. I don't really know what my plan is for you, but I know where you have to go. That much I do know.
I don't care that much. As long as it got me out of the whole
I
thing.
thought you might say that.
And she's just having such a hard time, like, containing her just, bubbly, effervescent joy at this point. She's just, the whole night has just been this, awkward performance that she's been really bad at. But she feels a weird, just, like, earnestness from him, and it's really comforting. And she's just like... completely, like, all decorum is left, and she just kind of giggles. Either way, I'm quite grateful.
After the feast, well, you'll have to travel south of here, really. Have you heard of the Barrow Vale? Sorry, I'm not sure if you responded, it did not come through.
How have I heard of the Barrow Vale?
Why don't you test fairy lore? Please.
Hey. 12 out of 13 success.
Okay. The Barrow Vale is deemed to be a very dangerous place. It's said to be really close to, like, I'm trying to give you bits of knowledge because you wouldn't have the whole thing.
Right.
It would be said to be a place where terrible things have come and taken away children, and tying some folklore to it. It's like children have been snatched up there. Giants have come out from the Vale to wreak havoc on the land. And in particular, there's one figure that you've heard the name of before, someone known as the Goblin Knight, who dwells there.
Out of the Barrow Vale. It's supposed to be dangerous, spooky, weird night fellows.
You might You might say that. Yeah, that is a way to look at it. That is certainly a way to look at it. It is probably pretty dangerous for you and for others. Like likely very dangerous for well, for the others.
Like, and then she's kind of like leans in conspiratorially and just he elicits this playfulness with her. And so she just kind of like leans over and points to like the rest of the feast, just like them. It might be dangerous for them, right?
Well, no, the rest of the gathering.
This gathering of
No,
people, right?
the other gathering. That one hasn't happened yet, but it will. It will very soon, because it's time. And when it's time, things ought to happen, because if they don't, well, it's really bad when they don't. Like, really bad.
I wouldn't want that, would we?
But you'll find out more about that soon on your journey. But I mentioned the Barrow Vale. That you're not going right to the Barrow Vale. That would be your end likely. You're going to Barrowcrest Manor. It overlooks the Barrow Vale, actually.
What if my king demands it? It must be done. That's what will be good and proper, right?
Well, I'm more asking, but no, I maybe I am demanding. Yeah, it looks better for everyone else if I demand it.
Far better. And goodness, if you demand it of me, I simply have to avoid all of this betrothal nonsense and acquiesce to your demands.
Yes, you're right. Good point. And with that, you see him like stand up, and he begins to climb onto the table. And everyone kind of just looks startled, and Cadwe's like, "Attention, everyone who's here. I am demanding that Olwyn, Lady Olwyn, be sent to Barrowcrest Manor, not the Barrow Vale. That's different. The Barrowcrest Manor, because there is some things that..." He just loses himself and begins to stare off for a second. He says, "Yes, there are some things that need to be looked after. Kingly business. Summerland business. I promised previously to keep you safe from the invaders, and I did. Now you must trust me here. There are some important activities that means that Lady Olwyn's hand in marriage is off limits until such a time as that changes, or we agree to something else, but we'll figure that out later. What's important is that Lady Olwyn will be not here, nor will she be available for marriage. Is that clear?" Oh, perfect. And everyone's just looking at him like, this is not fitting of a courtly, courteous scenario. He's like, "Excuse me," and he kind of hops off the, in a rather graceful bound, he hops off the table back onto the ground. For such a stout and plump guy, he seems to have quite a bit of nimbleness to him.
Well, my king does demand such a thing, and I must do so for the good of Summerland. And she'll just like curtsy and bow very low with many, many hand motions, like, as far down as she is able to.
He kind of whispers, he's like, "Well done." And then he's like, "Now, I must return to my business. Please enjoy partake in the feast, enjoy one another's company. With that, he bows briefly, and there are raised glasses to him. Even though Cadwe is awkward and people don't really feel comfortable socializing with him, he demands a lot of respect from his knights. Like Summerland are very much team Cadwe. They're very fond of him. So there's a bit of an applause as he leaves, almost like he was putting on a performance.
And Olwyn will also clap.
Lady Melior, you catch a look at your aunt, and you see that she has her arms folded over her chest and looks rather displeased.
Gonna kind of look over and just sort of feign shock, like, oh my gosh, that, can't believe that happened. Wow.
Okay. This has been a short one, but these intros will be this way. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up. But before we do, is there anything you want to do with Olwyn here in the castle before we close?
I don't think I have anything too specific to do with her. Maybe she'll just return to her seat, finish up her pigeon, and just like look, if anyone else came up to her, be like, oh, I'm so sorry. She'll be like, I know, it's really tragic. Just really try to play up the, oh, I was so looking forward to it. Really.
Why don't you give me an intrigue test?
Okay. Failure.
Okay, that's perfect. So you end up sitting not too terribly far from Sir Luff from Salisbury. He looks like, I think the camera's gonna close on him with a look of frustration and anger on his face. Not disappointment, not a typical response. There's something deeper there, something dangerous there in his eyes as he looks down in frustration. And with that, we close. Welcome to A Gathering of Branches for your introduction. We're gonna be doing these throughout September and launching the game right after. So stay tuned.
Yay.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next one. Take care, everyone.